world of confectionery is vast and ever-evolving. While many candies have become iconic and remain popular, others have slipped into obscurity despite their once great popularity. In this video, we're diving into the world of forgotten candies, revisiting some of the sweets that brought joy to many but are no longer available. Hershey's Tastations were an intriguing foray by Hershey into the realm of hard candies. Known primarily for their creamy chocolate bars, Hershey's tried their hand at Tastations, a line of hard candies available in flavors like mint, raspberry, caramel, and butterscotch. Despite their initial promise, Tastations failed to capture long-term consumer interest and were soon pulled from the shelves. The Reggie Bar is another example of a candy that had a short but memorable stint. Named after the infamous baseball player Reggie Jackson, this candy bar combined peanut butter with roasted peanuts, all encased in milk chocolate. It was introduced in 1978, but was only available until 1981, leaving fans wishing for its return. Wonka Donuts were part of the Willy Wonka candy brand under Nestle. These candies resembled little donut-shaped pieces, covered in sprinkles with a truffle-like center. They were heavily promoted in conjunction with the 2005 release of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Unfortunately, they didn't achieve lasting success and were discontinued due to lackluster sales. In the early 1980s, Mars Summit Bar emerged as a chocolatey peanut wafer cookie bar. Despite being well-loved for its taste, the bar had issues with chocolate melting quickly, which detracted from its appeal. It was discontinued in 1983, leaving fans nostalgic for its unique flavor. Butterfinger BBs were introduced in 1992 and quickly became a hit. These small chocolate balls were filled with crunchy Butterfinger pieces, and their release was bolstered by marketing efforts featuring The Simpsons. Despite their initial success, Butterfinger BBs were discontinued in 2006, much to the dismay of many fans. The Marathon Bar, introduced by Mars in 1983, was marketed as a candy you couldn't eat quickly due to its exceptionally chewy caramel. Its bright red packaging, which included a ruler to show how much you were getting, was part of its appeal. Many attempted the Marathon Bar challenge, but it was discontinued in 1981. If you missed the treat, you might actually enjoy Cadbury's Curly Whirly, which offers a similar chewy experience. Hershey's Kissables were the twist of the classic Hershey's Kisses. Released in 2005, these miniature kisses were coated with a colorful candy shell. Despite their novelty, they did not gain significant popularity and were discontinued in 2009, just 4 years after their introduction. Wonka Dweebs were introduced in the early 1990s as an attempt to build on the success of Nerds. These plump, soft candies were similar to Nerds, but featured 3 different flavor compartments instead of 2. Despite the variation, though, they didn't manage to sustain their appeal, and were discontinued after a few years. However, there was a brief revival in Europe in 2022. In 2003, Hershey's S'mores candy bar was introduced, inspired by the popular campfire treat. The idea seemed promising, but consumers preferred to make their s'mores at home rather than buying them pre-made. Consequently, the Hershey's S'mores bar was discontinued in 2012. Hershey's Elvis, launched in 2007, was a peanut butter and banana cream version of Reese's Cups, created to honor Elvis Presley. This flavor combination was inspired by one of Elvis's favorite sandwiches. However, it didn't resonate widely with consumers and was discontinued in 2008. For fans of Almond Joy or Mounds, Coconut Grove was a treat worth remembering. Made by Curtis Candy Company, this bar featured a creamy coconut center coated in dark chocolate. It was introduced in 1949, but was available for less than a decade before disappearing from the market. Peter Paul's Powerhouse Bar was a candy that combined peanuts, fudge, and caramel. It was introduced in the late 1960s and was known for providing a quick energy boost. Production ceased when Peter Paul was acquired by Hershey's in the late 1980s, making the Powerhouse Bar a sweet memory for those who enjoyed it. Hershey's Bar None featured 2 wafers filled with chocolate cream covered in milk, chocolate, and crushed peanuts. Initially popular, its sales declined after the addition of caramel, leading to its discontinuation in 1997. A similar product is still available, but it's not quite the same. PB Max, launched in 1990 by Mars, was a square-shaped, whole-grain cookie topped with peanut butter and covered in milk chocolate. It enjoyed moderate success, generating around $50 million in sales before being discontinued just 4 years later. Nestle Alpine White was a bar made of creamy white chocolate with almonds and was introduced in the mid-1980s. This delightful combination was a hit for a time, but eventually fell out of favor and was discontinued. Perhaps one day it might make a comeback. 7-Up Candy Bar from the 1930s was produced by the Pearson Candy Company. This bar featured 7 chambers, each with a different filling, such as caramel, butterscotch, and orange jelly. Although it was sold for several decades, it was discontinued in 1979, and no candy has quite matched its unique concept since. Swoops, introduced in 2003, were chocolate discs designed to melt in your mouth. They even came with peanut butter swirls. Despite their innovative design, Scoops were discontinued just 3 years later due to limited success. Bonkers candies were available in fruity and chocolate flavors and were known for their wild commercials. They became popular in the 80s, but despite ongoing rumors of a return, they remained discontinued. The Chicken Dinner Candy Bar is notable for its peculiar name. Launched in 1924, it was a chocolate bar with nuts and was marketed with a humorous twist. Despite its odd name, it gained popularity with children and was available until 1962. Space Dust was created in 1950 by a chemist working for General Foods. Initially developed as part of an instant soft drink, it turned out to be a fine candy dust. Released in 1978, it was discontinued just 5 years later, but remains reminiscent of Pop Rocks. Jumbo Nerds were a larger version of the original Nerds, created by Willy Wonka to capitalize on the success of the original candy. They were the same concept, but in a larger size. Unfortunately, Jumbo Nerds did not catch on and were discontinued. Our Bar was a Hershey product from the 1970s, featuring a nougat center coated in caramel and peanuts. Despite several relaunches, it was eventually discontinued and has not returned to the market. The Milkshake Candy Bar, introduced in the 20s, was named for its flavor that mimicked a chocolate malt milkshake. It was popular for decades, but was phased out in the 1980s due to business changes. As candy companies continue to innovate, they aim to create the next big sensation for sweet-toothed consumers. While some of these nostalgic treats may no longer be available, they remain fond memories for many. We hope you enjoyed this sweet stroll down memory lane. What's your favorite forgotten candy? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.